And you're like, where does the whale come in? I don't want to tell you. So there. You're just gonna have to watch it and see. You're just gonna have to see. And if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. It's your problem, not mine. Whatever. So, since we just talked about the live action Oscar nominated short films, now we're going to talk about the animated Oscar nominated short films. And I'm going to talk about three of them. Two of them were stop motion animation, and one was Beautiful Men, and the other was Wander to Wonder. They were interesting. Yeah. Beautiful Men is about three men who go to another city in another country, of which I cannot remember what it was right now, and they want to get hair plugs, a hair transplant, hair. They're bald and they want hair. And the one who made the appointment accidentally made one appointment instead of three appointments because I guess he thought they could all do it in one appointment. So it's sort of the three of them trying to figure out how to. It's just the three of them in this city when they're supposed to get these hair transplants. Next is Wander to Wonder, and it is about three sort of borrower type beings who work with a human man, and they did like a children's TV show, kind of like the Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, when the trolley would come and then you go through the tunnel and you were in like the puppet land, which was my least favorite because they were all creepy to me and they all had that voice, it made me uncomfortable as a child. I loved Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, the house, and everything that happened there. But when you dealt with the puppets, I was like, we can change the channel. That's fine. But anyway, that's the concept of this short. But then the old man dies. So then you've just got these three borrower type people still trying to make this show that they don't really understand how it works. And it's sort of what happens as the days go by. And they're both funny and odd and a little eerie, I'll say. Which is why I'm going to say that if you liked either of those two shorts, you may like The House, which is three short films as one. It's an anthology of short films. It's on Netflix, all stop motion animation, about three different stories of this house. And I almost don't even want to say anything else because each story is very different from the other. They're kind of, could you call them avant-garde? I don't know. They're interesting. They're interesting stories. Yeah, okay, whatever. If you like those two, you might like The House. And vice versa. Then the other one I want to talk about is In the Shadow of the Cypress, which I think that's the one that won. So that short is about, it's dealing with a lot of things. It's kind of about forgiveness and compassion and loss. I'll say that that's what it's about. And if you liked that short, you may like Whale Rider. It's a New Zealand film about a girl who, she was born, how do I explain this? She's the chief's granddaughter. She wants to be trained with the boys of how to take over to be chief. But she's a girl, so her grandfather won't train her. And you're like, where does the whale come in? I don't want to tell you. So there. You're just going to have to watch it and see. You're just going to have to see. And if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. It's your problem, not mine. Whatever. Okay, next we have Companion, which is a movie about a companion robot that someone purchased and possible murder and cover-up. I won't say anything else. I think it's supposed to be a horror or a thriller. Again, full disclosure, I did not like the movie as much as I wanted to like the movie. And I will probably maybe do a rant about it at some point. I think I want to do like movie rants about movies that I don't like. So I don't know if that'll be interesting to anyone, but I'll probably do one on that. Maybe that'll be my first one. But if you liked that movie, or if you didn't like that movie, you might like Ex Machina. Ex Machina is, well, they both sort of deal with a metaphor of women as robots and self-actualization, about having agency in your own life, etc. Which is also what Ex Machina is, except it's a thriller that I believe succeeded in being a thriller. And I realize that as I do this, I look super pretentious. So take that as you will. It's a really great movie. You should watch it. There you go. The next movie I want to talk about is called Universal Language. It is a Canadian film. It's a surreal film that exists in a world that is at once Canada and also the Middle East, and they live in Canada. I don't even know how to explain this movie. Maybe I'll just show clips of it here.
اینجا یکی از اولین سازه‌های مسکونی در بخش تاریخی بژ وینیپگه.
آدمای معروفی اینجا زندگی می‌کردن؟
نه.
But it's a very funny movie. It's just a really enjoyable movie that when you leave you go, huh. So if you like that feeling after you leave a movie, you'll probably like Universal Language. It has so many little attributes that I can't even really describe. Also, it's late o'clock now, since I had to wait for the battery to charge, and I'm not being very eloquent, and I didn't write down the summaries, and it would have been helpful for me to have done that to help myself out, but I didn't. So if you liked Universal Language, you may want to try to watch Paris, je t'aime, if I can just be more pretentious than I already am right now. This is a movie of short films. Each short is by a different director who was given basically a French Quarter. They were given a neighborhood within Paris and asked to create a short film about that neighborhood. And they're all different. They're all interesting for different reasons. In all the ways that Universal Language is odd and, you question reality, the different shorts within this film do the same thing in different ways. And also, it's a multilingual story as well, so I recommend it. Moving on. Next is Mickey 17. It's a movie about a guy who needs to leave Earth quickly, and so he picks a job as an expendable, or I can't remember his job title, but his job is to check things out in order to die, in order to be reprinted and to do the same thing again. And so it's about life on this foreign planet, and it asks existential questions about life. It has themes of like compassion and how we handle power. It's got some really interesting conversations. It's based on a book. I haven't read it yet. Hot take, I prefer to watch the movies before I read the book because often the book is better. So this way I get to enjoy the movie and I get to enjoy the book. So I don't read the book and then watch the movie and get disappointed that the movie was nothing like the book. Okay. Anyway, so if you liked Mickey 17, I think that you may like Moon, which is another Sam Rockwell movie. I'm not going to tell you very much about it, except to say that he works on the moon by himself. He gets caught in the storm, and a stranger shows up. It becomes sort of a thriller to see how he can figure his way out of the predicament that he has found himself in. And it deals with the same sort of things like the meaning of life. All of that fun existentialism. So if you're into that, you should try it. The next movie that I would like to suggest for Mickey 17 is Okja, which was directed by the same director. And this also is a film that talks about compassion and empathy and the stark difference between compassion and empathy and the lust for power. It's also funny, it's also very sad, but it's hopeful. It's got some action, it's thought-provoking. You should check it out if you want to. If you liked Mickey 17, you may like these movies. Next, I want to talk about Opus, which is currently out. It's about a rock star who has his final album. He invites a handful of people to his land to have dinner, see the concert, write about it, and then it becomes a thriller, and I won't say anything else about it because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. So, if you liked Opus, I would recommend that you watch Midsummer, which you may probably have already seen if you saw Opus, but I don't know. There are some graphic things in both movies, so if that impacts you, if like body horror stuff is a negative trigger, don't watch either of these movies. But Midsummer is similar to Opus in that they both have sort of sunny aesthetics, but dark undertones. Yeah, that's all that I will say about that. I want you to, I don't want to ruin anything. So there you go. Next, I will talk about Novocaine, which is a movie with Jack Quaid. He was born with a condition where he does not feel pain, like something with his nerves. It is a real condition. It's a dangerous condition because your body is still being impacted by things that would cause it pain, but it doesn't register that pain is happening. So you can imagine, like, if you put your hand on a hot stove, but your body, your nerves aren't telling you that the stove top is hot, then you'll leave your hand there and then you'll get like horribly burned. And, maybe you have to amputate your hand. He's an assistant bank manager, and he has a crush on one of the tellers, and there's a bank robbery, and she gets kidnapped as, like, a hostage, and then he decides to go rescue her because the police are not there anymore. Yeah, it's a fun time. It's, they play a lot with the concept of him not being able to feel pain, and it's almost a kind of drunken master sort of concept where he doesn't necessarily know what he's doing, but he's accomplishing killing. I shouldn't be allowed to turn on a camera when I'm tired. It's just a fun time, So, if you liked Novocaine, I think that you might also like. Now, I have to do another caveat here because I had a movie I was thinking of, but I was like, well, that's not action-y enough, so I can't use that one. So then I was like, ooh, Guns Akimbo. Well, that's a similar thing, but I hadn't seen it before, so I started watching it tonight, and I have a 20-minute rule with movies where I DNF them after 20 minutes if I'm not feeling it. At the 20-minute mark is when he gets the guns like attached to him. So I was like, I'll give it some more time. That was just the setup. And at like the 22-minute mark, we see his business, and I didn't want to see that. And I was like, I think I'm done with this movie now. It was very gritty, like dirty and like, the mean streets and like thugs being thugs, and like there's not like character development. They're just bad, and like I've got a mohawk because I do, and I'm just gonna walk around the building with a baseball bat around my neck, and that's just what, like, there's nothing dangerous happening. They're just in their office, but she's like, I have a baseball bat and I am walking. And I know it's not based in reality, so it's fine, but also it's like, come on. I mean, no realism. This is whatever. So you may love Guns Akimbo. I didn't. I'm going to recommend it, just not recommend it. I'm going to, if you liked Novocaine, you might like Guns Akimbo just because it wasn't my style. It might be your style, but it was a bit too grungy in aesthetics. It was a bit more grungy in aesthetics than Novocaine, and there was nudity that wasn't in Novocaine. So next, I thought American Ultra, which is about a guy who, he's kind of a stoner. He loves his girlfriend, but he feels like he's keeping her back. He has panic attacks. Come to find out, he's not just a guy with anxiety. He's a sleeper agent. And he's got to defeat the baddie while, with the duality of being like a stoner who doesn't know where his lungs are and a CIA operative who is incredibly intelligent and knows all of the facts about everything. And it's a comedy, action comedy. I just started watching it because I didn't want to recommend something that I hadn't seen, and I think I'm about halfway through, and I really like it so far. So, and it does, yeah. I think if you like Novocaine, you should check out. What's the movie called? American Ultra. Yeah. And then last but not least, I just thought I'd include it anyway, even though it's not like action-y enough. The Man Who Knew Too Little. It's a Bill Murray movie from a while ago. It's kind of like The Gift, which is also a 90s movie, or Game Night. He thinks he's doing like an improv play, but he's actually in the middle of an international, a big international crime, and he's sort of fumbling through it, but succeeding. He's sort of drunken mastering his way through the whole situation. It's also a fun time. So there you go. That wraps that up. And I believe we're on the last one. So the most recent movie that I saw is Anora, which also, I guess did it win Best Picture? I didn't watch the Oscars. So if you liked Anora, I guess I should explain to you what Anora is in case you haven't seen it. It's about a girl. She is an exotic dancer. She's a New Yorker, but her grandmother is Russian, so she knows Russian, and there's a Russian guy who comes to the club, and so they're like, oh, you go talk to him because you know Russian. And they hit it off, and so he sort of pretty womans her into being his girlfriend for a week, and then they get married, and it is about the repercussions of doing that with a with the son of a very wealthy, maybe with questionable morals, family. I really liked the movie, and I should have known, but I didn't. But it has a lot of nudity in it that I wasn't aware how much there would be, and there was a lot, so please be warned. There's some explicit things happening, but at the same time, it is incredibly funny. The writing is great. The ensemble cast does a really good job with just all of the dialogue and the escalating arguments, and it's just a really good time. And there were some really like poignant moments as well. So if you liked Anora, you may like one of these two movies. The first one is Good Time. It's an A24 film with Robert Pattinson in it. He plays a guy who is trying to get his brother, who, if I'm remembering correctly, he is on the spectrum, but I don't know in what capacity. And I could be getting this wrong because I saw it maybe 5 years ago. But his brother got in trouble. He's trying to get him out of trouble by getting him into more trouble. And it's also kind of a crazy urban odyssey of like an adventure in New York. A lot of it happens around like the Dumbo area, I think, which is where some of Anora happens as well. So if you want a movie that has like New York as one of the characters, with like a lot of action, morally great characters doing the best they can with what they have, so kind of a crazy time, but with an underlying layer of like vulnerability. And then the next movie is Silver Skates. This is a Russian film, and the reason that I say that you might like this if you liked Anora is because it's in Russian, and And so if you want a movie that has Russian in it, they're just moving so fast. They are moving really fast. They're rushing down the frozen river on their silver skates. Wow. Another reason that you may want to watch Silver Skates if you saw Anora and enjoyed it is because one of the ensemble cast, Yura Borisov, I don't know. He is in both films, and I thought he did a great job in both. Yeah, so there you go. That's all of the movies that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I hope that there were a couple of movies that you were familiar with or you were interested in to, broaden your film horizons, I guess. I don't know how much culture this will bring to you. That was just a bit. You don't need to watch movies to have culture. You probably already know that. But just in case you didn't, movies don't equal culture. Just in case. Now that we've gotten all those movies taken care of, I do want to make an announcement to the 5 people who are going to watch this. This is taking quite a lot of work, and I have a full-time job, and I'm trying to write and read and film and edit and, take care of myself and my dog, and it's kind of difficult because I also have a long-term health condition that is difficult to deal with sometimes. So I am probably going to start going down to posting every other week. That'll give me more time to write because I just feel kind of overwhelmed. But I don't want to just get burnout like I did the last time I started posting, because I did that for about 2 months and then dropped off the face of the earth because I got sick because I had burnout. And I don't want to have the same thing happen. So yeah, I'll be posting every other week now, and if I can post more, I will, but that's the goal now. Feel free to comment, subscribe. Tell me about any of these movies. If you've seen them, if you like them, if you don't like them, if you have other suggestions of movies that people might like based on the movies that I talked about. Yeah, if you think that I should watch movies that I haven't mentioned, what have you, just, live your best life. And with all of that being said, I will see you on the next blank page. Bye.